What if the one skill nobody taught you, not in school, not from mentors, is quietly shaping every result in your life? What if the difference between what you have now and what you want isn't a new job, more money, or another course, but a single little-known way you can move and shape your own energy? If you want a radical, practical lever that changes how you show up and what you attract, stay with me. This is the little-known energy manipulation method that can transform your life, and you're about to feel it. Close your eyes for a moment and place one hand over your chest and the other lightly on your abdomen. Breathe in slowly for 5 seconds, hold for 5, and breathe out for 5. Do this 3 times. On the third exhale, imagine a warm golden light gathering in your chest, like a small sun. Breathe that warmth out through your hands, as if you could warm the air a few inches in front of you. Keep your eyes closed and notice any sensations, a subtle pressure, a tingling, a temperature shift, a sense of calm spreading outward. Stay with that feeling for 30 seconds. Open your eyes and take note. Any change, however small, is data. If you felt even a hint of difference, type the word "felt" in the comments. That's the proof we start with. Sensation, not belief. Sensation. That one experience is the critical doorway into the method I'm about to teach. You just did the core thrust of this approach in under a minute. You focused attention, used breath to shift internal state, anchored in the heart region, and practiced transmitting intention outward. That sequence, sense, shift, send, is the backbone. It's simple, repeatable, and scalable. It's also the bridge between practices that ancient energy traditions called chi or prana and modern experiments and hypotheses in neuroscience and physics that many people point to as suggestive, though not conclusive. Think of this as high-leverage training, small acts that compound. Before I unpack the full toolkit, a quick orientation. Some researchers and thought leaders have proposed frameworks that resonate with this idea. The HeartMath Institute has documented how heart-brain coherence correlates with emotional stability and decision-making. Proponents like Joe Dispenza and Bruce Lipton popularize the idea that attention and belief shape physiological patterns. Scientists such as Roger Penrose and Stuart Hameroff have offered hypotheses about microtubules and quantum-level processes in neurons, a controversial speculative idea, not an established fact. Rupert Sheldrake has argued for fields of influence beyond classical explanations. Amit Goswami and others interpret quantum experiments as metaphors for consciousness and possibility. Use these references as context. They suggest directions, not guarantees. The method you'll learn is experiential first, explanatory second. Now let's ground this in 3 operational principles that will shape everything you do. Focus, resonance, coherence. Focus is attention with intention. What you attend to amplifies. Attention is like a flashlight in a dark room. Whatever you point it at becomes brighter. That's why the first micro-practice is a minute-long contrast visualization. You deliberately create a clear before and after in your mind, so your system can recognize the difference and then move toward it. Resonance is frequency matching. Think of energy like radio stations. If your internal frequency is broadcasting noise, you won't pick up the station you want. But if you tune your signal through breath, posture, and feeling, you begin to synchronize with environments, people, or outcomes that match that frequency. Resonance explains why presence matters more than brute force. Coherence is alignment of systems, heart, brain, and body acting in agreement. Coherence produces a predictable, stable output. HeartMath research suggests that a coherent heart rhythm correlates with clearer cognition and calm emotions. This is why heart-focused breathing is central to this method. Coherence is the practice of making your internal state a single integrated instrument instead of several competing voices. Everything that follows is a set of practical protocols you can practice today, scaled across 3 stages: sensing, directing, and integrating. Each stage has exercises that build on the last. You'll journal every session. Data creates confidence. Stage 1, sensing. This stage trains your awareness of subtle signals in and around your body. You are learning to detect energy before you try to move it. Start with the 60-second contrast visualization. Sit comfortably, close your eyes, think of one small area of your life you want to shift. A conversation, a task, a feeling, a micro-habit. Spend 20 seconds vividly imagining the current experience. What you see, hear, and feel in your body when that thing happens now. Make it crisp. Then spend 20 seconds imagining the opposite, the result you want, again with sensory detail. For the final 20 seconds, breathe slowly and choose one short phrase that captures the desired state, such as calm and focused or confident and clear. Repeat this once in the morning and once before bed for a week, and write one line in your journal about any tiny change you notice. The next sensing exercise is palm awareness. Bring your hands about 6 inches apart, palms facing each other. Breathe into your belly. Notice any warmth, tingling, or resistance between the palms. If you feel nothing, slightly move them closer and farther apart, watching for changes. Try this for 60 to 90 seconds. Beginner variation. Do this with your palms on your knees and imagine the space between them instead of literal distance. The purpose is to build a subtle somatic map of the field around you. A third sensing drill is the micro-shift scan. Stand or sit, breathe normally, and run a quick internal scan from your toes to your head. Name any sensations: tightness, warmth, coolness, vibration. Breathe into any spot and hold attention for 5 slow breaths. This trains precision. Your attention becomes a surgical tool rather than a blunted hammer. Stage 2, directing. Once you can sense, you learn to move and sculpt. Direction is intentional focus plus embodied action. The heart coherence routine is the primary directing tool. Sit upright, relax your shoulders, and place your fingertips lightly together, or one hand on your chest. Breathe in for 5 seconds, hold for 5 seconds, and breathe out for 5 seconds. Repeat 3 times. On the third cycle, bring to mind a sincere feeling of appreciation or gratitude. Not forced, but small and real. Imagine the appreciation as a warm, steady field expanding from your chest. Hold that feeling for 60 seconds. Beginner variation. Shorten to 3-second breaths if 5 seconds is uncomfortable. Safety note: if you feel dizzy, return to natural breathing and stop the exercise until you feel stable. The visualization flip is a directing movement that converts contrast into momentum. After your heart coherence, visualize the desired outcome as if it's already present. Use sensory detail, the colors, sounds, textures. Then, in your mind, take one small step that would make the scene more real. A gesture, a phrase, a step towards someone. This bridges internal change to external behavior, which is how subtle energy becomes measurable outcome. Palm projection expands the sensing palm drill into a directing action. After you've created a heart coherence field, place your palms facing each other again and imagine sending the warm field through your hands. Move your hands slowly apart while holding the intention and feeling. If you're uncertain whether anything happened, try placing a small paper strip or a feather between your palms and observe any movement. Keep expectations moderate. If you see no physical movement, you still are practicing something important, training the mind-body coordination that precedes measurable results. Stage 3. Integrating. Integration is daily layering, lifestyle, habits, and validation tests that make the shifts durable. Build a morning energy charge. Immediately after waking, do one cycle of the 60-second contrast visualization, one set of heart coherence, and a one-line journal entry. Today, I am moving toward Usadils. At midday, practice a 60-second reset. Breathe 3 deep diaphragmatic breaths, recenter on your chest, and repeat your anchor phrase. In the evening, do a 90-second clearing. Breathe out slowly 3 times and picture any residual tension dissolving like salt in water. Lifestyle pillars amplify everything. Hydration matters. Being even mildly dehydrated affects cognitive clarity and the ease of feeling subtle sensations. Sleep quality is non-negotiable. Aim for consistent sleep windows. Movement, simple walking, stretching, or light chi-style motion keeps the field circulating. Nutrition that stabilizes blood sugar helps maintain steady attention. Avoid frequent highs and crashes if you want predictable energetic states. Cold exposure can be helpful, but start small. A minute of cool shower at the end of your normal shower, gradually increasing only if comfortable. Always consult a healthcare professional if you have medical conditions before doing cold exposure or breathwork beyond basic practices. Now some practical micro-tools with precise timings and beginner safeguards. 60-second contrast visualization. Beginner. Sit upright. Close eyes. 20 seconds. Vividly imagine current state. 20 seconds. Vividly imagine desired state. 20 seconds. Hold a concise anchor phrase. Open eyes and write one sentence about any shift. Heart coherence mini protocol. Beginner safe. Sit with a straight spine. Breathe in 5s, hold 5s, out 5s. Repeat 3 times. On the final exhale, bring a genuine feeling of appreciation. Hold for 60 seconds. If any dizziness occurs, return to natural breath. Palm sensing and projection. Palms 6 inches apart. Focus on the space between the palms. Breathe gently and notice sensations for 60 to 90 seconds. Then, after a heart coherence set, imagine sending warmth through the palms and slowly move them apart. Beginner variation. Rest palms on knees. Imagine the space between them. Energy clearing. Visual movement. Hold your hands in front of you, palms toward the body. Imagine a soft blue light sweeping from head to toe like a slow wave. Sweep downward 3 times. Finish with a breath and a grounding phrase. I am settled. Keep this to 60-90 seconds. Daily journaling template. Date. Exercise done. 1-line description of sensation. 1 small external change observed, even if tiny. 1 intention for tomorrow. Do not invent outcomes. Your job is documentation. Safety reminders at every stage. Do not replace medical treatment with these techniques. If you have cardiovascular, respiratory, or psychiatric conditions, consult a professional before intense breathwork. Stop any exercise that produces strong discomfort or prolonged dizziness. You may be wondering, where does science fit? Use scientific references as signposts, not commandments. The double-slit experiment and observer effect are often used as metaphors for mind-matter interaction, but they do not prove that human intention collapses macroscopic realities on demand. The Penrose-Hameroff hypothesis about microtubules suggests a possible quantum role in consciousness, yet it remains speculative and debated. HeartMath research shows correlations between heart rhythm coherence and psychological states. That's useful and actionable because it links measurable physiology to experience. Bruce Lipton's work emphasizes how perception affects cellular behavior, compelling as a way to reframe stress response and behavior. Joe Dispenza mixes neuroscience, neuroplasticity, and meditative practice into accessible programs. Proponents report transformation, though rigorous, controlled evidence is variable. Rupert Sheldrake's morphic fields offer a provocative model for fields of influence. Treat it as an interpretive lens. The practical takeaway: Multiple traditions and some contemporary researchers point to a domain where attention, physiology, and subtle influence converge. Use these as inspiration and caution simultaneously. Let's anchor this with an experiment you can run at home that requires zero special equipment: the plant test. Get 2 small, identical plants. Over 2 weeks, interact with one plant daily using a short, consistent routine. 1 minute of heart coherence breath directed as appreciation for the plant, 1 minute of visualization of it vibrant and growing, and a 1-line journal note. Leave the other plant as a control with standard care only. Water both equally and place them in similar conditions. Record growth, leaf color, and general vigor in your journal. This is not conclusive science. Many variables can influence plants, but it is an accessible way to practice sustained directing and tracking. Another low-tech validation is social sync. Pick one person you care about. For a week, send them a short, genuine feeling of appreciation via your daily heart coherence practice, and then note how often they reach out within 24 hours compared to a baseline week. Do not expect miracles. Look for patterns over time. You're building an evidence bank, not proof for a court. Progression matters. Don't rush to advanced techniques before stage 1 is solid. A typical first-month plan looks like this. Week 1, sensing drills twice daily and journaling. Week 2, add heart coherence once daily and morning contrast visualizations. Week 3, introduce palm projection and a plant experiment. Week 4, integrate midday resets and a simple social sync experiment. Track daily, not just feelings. Objective notes matter: time of day, what you ate, sleep, stresses, results. When you begin this work, expect subtlety and variability. Some days you'll notice vivid sensations and clear shifts. Other days, it will feel like nothing happened. Both are part of training. The principle is compound practice. Small, consistent actions pile up into measurable changes. The trick is to treat this like a laboratory, where you're both scientist and subject. Be rigorous, curious, and patient. Now let's get tactical with a set of progressive exercises you can cycle through in a single session, building from sensing into directing. Begin seated. Start with a 60-second microscan, then do one 60-second contrast visualization. Follow that with 3 cycles of the heart coherence breathing. After that, spend 90 seconds with palm sensing and then 90 seconds attempting a gentle palm projection while holding a clear, simple intention. Finish with a 1-line journal note. Total time, roughly 10 minutes. Do this in the morning for 5 days and note what patterns emerge. If you're pressed for time, do the 60-second contrast visualization and 1 coherence set. That's a compact practice that still moves the needle. A common beginner error is trying to force immediate external results. Energy work is not magic, like a flick of a switch. It's training of a subtle system. Treat outcomes as feedback, not judgment. If you want to accelerate learning, refine the feedback loop. Be specific in your journal, note micro behaviors you changed, and adjust your practice variables. For example, if you feel sleepy after coherence work, shorten the breath counts or do it while standing. If you notice increased clarity after a palm projection session, extend that technique and document the time of day and posture. Ethics and responsibility are non-negotiable. Use this method to enhance well-being, creativity, service, and honest ambition. Do not use it to manipulate or harm others. Respect consent and boundaries. Aligning your internal field with an intention to influence another person without their knowledge crosses an ethical line. Also, do not abandon conventional medical or psychological care in favor of energy practices. These techniques are complementary tools, not replacements for evidence-based treatment. Imagine where this can go when you integrate it into your life. A 5-minute morning routine becomes a steady current pulling your attention toward intentional outcomes. Your nervous system learns new set points. You become less reactive, more creative, and more decisive. Small opportunities that previously seemed invisible begin to align with your rhythm because your energy matches them. That's resonance in action. At this point, you've got the early foundation. Sensing exercises, heart coherence, palm work, visualization flips, journaling, and a safe progression plan. Later, we'll add validation experiments with electronics and interpersonal syncs, deeper biohacks to support coherence, and troubleshooting for common plateaus. You'll also get a 30, 60, 90-day template with daily metrics and a journaling structure that turns anecdotes into reproducible patterns. For now, take one immediate step. Do the heart coherence routine again. 3 cycles of 5s in, 5s hold, 5s out, and hold a sincere feeling of appreciation for 60 seconds. Afterward, write a single line in your journal. One sensation and one observable detail about your environment. That's the smallest unit of disciplined practice. It builds the muscle. If you want more step-by-step templates and a downloadable journal layout that pairs with the exact protocol I teach, subscribe to the channel and join the newsletter. You'll get clear tracking sheets and the next sequence of experiments delivered to your inbox. Do the heart coherence now, then subscribe so you can track what happens. Now that you've committed to practice, that small, disciplined unit of attention you just did, we move into the next layer. Reproducible experiments, biohacks that amplify your sensitivity, structured troubleshooting, and a clear 30 to 60, 90-day pathway that turns sensation into skill and skill into measurable life shifts. This is where the method graduates from a neat trick you feel once to a repeatable capability that reshapes how you meet each day. Experiments you can run that won't break anything. The point of experiments is not to prove metaphysics to a skeptic. It's to build your internal databank so you learn what reliably correlates with the shifts you want. Treat them like small, low-cost lab studies you can do in your home. Record everything. The humility of a scientist documenting failure as readily as success is what accelerates learning. Plant experiment, more rigorous version. Get 2 identical pots, soil and plants, same species, size and health. Put them in the same light and temperature zone. For 2 weeks, do the following routine with plant A. Morning, 60 seconds of heart coherence with directed appreciation for the plant, followed by 60 seconds of visualization of rich green leaves and strong stems. Say a 1-line journal entry. Plant B gets identical watering and care, but no directed attention. Record daily. Soil moisture, leaf count, new growth length, color saturation. Put a small color sticker you can compare. Photograph each plant from the same angle and light each day. Use a simple spreadsheet. Date, subjective vigor, 1 to 5. Measurable changes, observations, insect presence, droop. Look for patterns across weeks. Many variables influence plant growth. The value is in practicing consistency and noticing subtle differences, not in claiming definitive causation. Compass microtest. A small magnetic compass is inexpensive and safe. Sit at a table with the compass centered on a flat surface. Baseline, note the needle direction and any small swings for 1 minute while breathing normally. Then, after a heart coherence set, place your hands just 6 to 10 inches above the compass. Do not touch the compass. Hold the feeling of appreciation or the specific intention and watch the needle for 1 minute. Repeat across different times of day and document. If you see no movement, that's data 2. If you see small deviations, log the time, breath counts, and what you were feeling. Repeat the test without intention, but with the same breath pattern to control for breathing effects. Safe electronics curiosity. Instead of fiddling with sensitive or expensive equipment, use low-risk items. A lightweight paper strip suspended on a thread, a feather, or a tiny paper pinwheel on a table. After your coherence practice, bring your hands near the object and notice any micro-movements. Do not attempt to tamper with consumer electronics in ways that risk damage or safety. If you have access to consumer biofeedback tools, HR monitor, simple pulse oximeter, track baseline heart rate variability, HRV, and subjective coherence before and after practice. Use these as supplemental data points, not as proof of metaphysical claims. Social sync experiment. Pick one close friend or family member. For 1 week, at roughly the same time each day, spend 1 minute in heart coherence and direct a genuine feeling of appreciation or well-wishing toward them. Record any outreach from them within the next 24 hours, and note whether the timing differs from a baseline week when you did nothing special. Keep expectations modest. This is about spotting patterns, not expecting a consistent result each day. Record mood reports from both sides if possible. A short text asking how they felt that day can reveal patterns. Always respect consent and privacy. Don't manipulate someone covertly. Data hygiene, what to record, and why your journal is the backbone of this work. Without it, you're trading anecdote for illusion. A reliable daily entry takes 30-60 seconds and transforms perception into evidence. Daily entry fields. Date, time, practice done, checkboxes, 60s contrast, 3x heart coherence, palm sensing, palm projection, clearing, physical state on arrival, sleep hours, hydration, caffeine, stress, 1 to 10. Sensation summary, 1 short sentence, tingle in hands, calm chest, no sensation, 1 measurable environmental note, temperature, 2-word description, quiet, chaotic. 1 external observation. Colleague responded differently. Plant bud opened. Compass needle moved 5 degrees. Rating of perceived effectiveness. 1 to 10. 1 line for experiment variables. If running a test. Distance to plant, time of day, posture. Intent for tomorrow. 1 line. Every 7 days, extract a weekly summary. 3 signals that repeat, 1 adjustment to the protocol, 1 hypothesis to test next week. This weekly meta-note is where pattern recognition happens. Deeper breathwork progressions, safe, incremental. Breath is the engine of quick state change. Start simple, then add structure. Always include a safety reminder. If you feel lightheaded, short of breath, or anxious, return to your normal breath and sit quietly until you stabilize. Anyone with cardiovascular or respiratory conditions should consult a professional before advanced breathwork. Beginner, foundation, 5-5-5 coherence, inhale 5s, hold 5s, exhale 5s. Repeat 3 cycles, hold appreciation for 60s. Intermediate, increase presence, gentle. 6-4-6 box style. Inhale 6s, hold 4s, exhale 6s, pause 2s. Repeat 5 cycles. Finish with 60s, gratitude, hold. Alternate nostril for balance. Gentle alternation with thumb and ring finger. 3 rounds of normal breath between cycles. Keep counts short, 3 to 4 seconds for beginners. Advanced, only when comfortable and experienced. Coherent breathing with micro-retention. Inhale 5s, hold 5s, exhale 7s. Repeat 6 times, then rest. Do not practice extended retentions if you have hypertension, cardiovascular issues, or a history of seizures. Stop immediately if you feel dizziness, faintness, or intense anxiety. Integration tip: pair breathwork with micro-actions. The bridge to the world is always behavior. After a coherence breath session, perform 1 small outward action related to your intention. Send 1 clarifying text. Take 1 step toward a project. Make 1 quick choice, aligned with what you visualized. These micro-actions allow internal state to produce external momentum. Movement practices that keep your field circulating. Static practice is useful. Motion amplifies. Here are approachable movement structures inspired by Chi-style protocols and modern performance habits. Keep them gentle and within your mobility comfort. Morning circulation, 5 minutes. Gentle neck rolls, shoulder circles, hip openers. 2 minutes of walking with attention on the feet and breath. Inhale 3 steps, Exhale 3 steps. Finish with a 60-second chest-opening stretch while practicing a brief appreciation phrase. Evening release, 7 minutes. Slow torso twists seated, each side 45 seconds. Humming while exhaling for 30-60 seconds. Hum on an tone at chest resonance. This shifts vagal tone and can be calming. Finish with a standing forward fold for 30 seconds while imagining tension dissolving. Humming and sound, cheap, fast coherence. Hum or chant on exhale for 30-60 seconds. The vibration around the chest and throat alters internal sensation and often deepens the sense of presence. This is safe, low cost, and often yields immediate subjective calm. Nutrition and hydration as fuel, not cure. Tiny nutritional choices compound. The goal is stability. Stable blood sugar, adequate micronutrients, and good hydration support steady attention. These are not promises of transformation. They are prerequisites for reliable practice. Hydration baseline. Begin each morning with 250-400 milliliters of water. Add a pinch of salt if you sweat a lot or after exercise. Hydrated tissue supports clearer proprioception. Stable energy. Choose meals that pair protein with fibrous vegetables and healthy fats. Avoid frequent sugar spikes that obscure subtle feeling. Caffeine. Use strategically. If it makes you jittery, reduce intake before practice sessions. Supplements. If you're curious, basic B-complex and magnesium can support sleep and nervous system regulation. Consult a healthcare professional before starting supplements. Sleep and circadian architecture. Sleep resets your nervous system and optimizes the brain-body communication you need for energy work. The experiments you run will be noisier without consistent sleep. Aim for a consistent sleep window. Even a 30 to 60-minute shift matters. Pre-sleep routine. Light dimming, 10 minutes of journaling about 3 wins, and 1 60-second breath coherence to seal the day. If you track sleep with consumer devices, watch changes in restlessness across weeks in correlation with practice intensity. Cold exposure, safe and incremental. Cold showers and brief immersion can sharpen attention and increase physiological resilience, but they must be introduced slowly. Starter protocol. At the end of your normal warm shower, finish with 30 seconds of cool water aimed at the torso. Breathe naturally. If you gasp, back off. Progression. Add 15 seconds per week as comfortable. Stop if you feel numbness, intense pain, or if you have cardiovascular conditions without medical clearance. Combine with breath. After the cool burst, perform 2 cycles of 5-5-5 coherence to recenter. Posture, movement, and environmental design. Your ability to sense depends on a stable base. Posture supports coherence. Desk setup, feet flat, hips slightly higher than knees, neutral spine. Stand for 10 minutes each hour if practical. Micro-movement. Get up every 30-60 minutes to shake your limbs and take 3 deep breaths. These resets clear accumulated tension. Clutter audit. An uncluttered environment reduces sensory noise. Spend 5 minutes each evening returning objects to order. This primes calm. Advanced sensing and directing techniques. Do not rush. Once you've stabilized basics for several weeks, experiment with subtle progressions. Each step requires increased attention to safety and documentation. Time-locked intention. Pick an exact time and set a 90-second intention with heart coherence. Afterward, note any synchronistic events in the following 4 to 6 hours. You're building probability data. Paired action. Pair a small external behavior with each internal session so you can begin to test causal chains. For example, after coherence, send a concise action email. Track how often the outcomes align with intention. Sympathetic calibration. Practice your palm sensing on different people, with consent, to notice interpersonal resonance. Notice who tends to calm you and who tends to agitate you. These patterns tell you about boundary needs and energy hygiene. Troubleshooting common plateaus and confusion. The most important skill in this work is adjustment. When results stall, don't hustle harder. Change the variables and test. Common problem? I felt something for a week, then nothing. Likely cause? Habituation. The nervous system gets used to stimuli. Response? Change the novelty. Alter posture, time of day, or add movement. Reintroduce micro-experiments like the plant test after a week off. Common problem. I get lightheaded during breath practice. Likely cause, hyperventilation or too rapid CO2 loss. Response, shorten breath counts, 3-3-3, and pause between cycles. Sit down, breathe normally until stabilized. If persistent, consult a professional. Common problem, I feel emotionally raw or unexpectedly upset. Likely cause, emotional material surfacing as nervous system regulation improves. Response, ground with physical sensation, feet on the floor, sip water, shorten sessions, journal what came up, and seek therapeutic support if emotions are intense or persistent. Common problem, no measurable external changes. Is this working? Likely cause, expectation and measurement mismatch. Response, refine the metrics. Move from vague expectations to specific, observable markers. A direct text, a plant leaf count, a morning mood rating. Patience and documentation are your allies. Scaling practices without losing fidelity. Scaling up is not about longer meditations alone. It's about multiplying disciplined units and integrating them into life. Micro-habits beat marathon sessions. 3 5 to 10-minute sessions spread through the day typically produce better learning than one 45-minute session. Accountability. Share weekly summaries with a practice partner or a small group. Reporting publicly or to a trusted friend increases probability of consistency. Ritualization. Anchor your sessions to existing cues after brushing teeth before lunch. Rituals reduce friction. 30, 60, 90-day plan. Exact, testable, and practical. This roadmap is designed to build capacity step by step and produce a reliable data trail. Each day has a minimum practice and a recommended plus for acceleration. Daily minimum, all 90 days. 1 60-second contrast visualization in the morning. 1 set of 3x5, 5x5 heart coherence. 1 journal line, fields from above. Weekly add-ons. Week-level experiment notes twice weekly. Plant, compass, social sync. 1 movement session, 5 to 10 minutes. 1 cold exposure attempt starting at 30 seconds at week 2, only if medically safe. 30-day focus, weeks 1-2, sensing foundation. Twice daily 60s contrast, daily palm sensing, journaling. Weeks 3-4, add heart coherence daily and introduce the plant experiment. Begin weekly summaries. 60-day focus, weeks 5-8, refine direction. Expand to palm projection attempts after coherence, tighten journaling variables, and begin social sync experiments on a small scale. Weeks 9-12, integrate micro-actions. After each session, do 1 outward action aligned to intent. Track conversions, contacts, tasks completed, emotional shifts. 90-day focus, weeks 13-16, consolidate integration. Add more complex movement sessions, 10-20 minutes Qigong-inspired flow. Explore safe breath progressions and start a monthly meta-review. Compare weeklies to see trends. Weeks 17-20, choose 1 bigger external outcome to test, a presentation, relationship check-in, or creative launch. Apply the full stack, morning charge, midday resets, evening clearing, paired micro-actions, and daily journaling. Run measured outcomes and log them numerically where possible. Sample weekly schedule, concise, Monday, morning contrast, 60s, coherence, 3x555, 1-line journal. Midday, 60s reset. Evening, 90s clearing. Tuesday, morning contrast, palm sensing 90s journal. Midday, movement 5 minutes. Evening, social sync prep. Wednesday, morning contrast coherence journal. Experiment plant observation. Evening, humming for 60s. Thursday, morning contrast palm projection attempt after coherence journal. Midday reset, evening clearing. Friday, morning contrast micro scan and movement journal. Social sync experiment this afternoon. Evening, weekly summary 3 bullets. Saturday, longer practice 10-12 minutes. Full progression, weekly photo record of experiments. Journal extended note. Sunday, rest or light practice. Reflect on subjective energy and how it aligned or diverged from expectations. How to evaluate outcomes objectively. Reduce wishful thinking by committing to objective markers. Subjective states matter. Objective markers prevent confirmation bias. Objective markers you can use. Frequency of certain behaviors. How many times you followed up on an email. Measurable physical signs. Plant leaf count, compass deviation degrees. Social indicators, number of incoming messages from a person within 24 hours. Sleep metrics, restlessness, total sleep time. Performance markers, time spent on focused work, number of completed tasks. Subjective markers you can quantify. Morning energy rating, 110. Calmness index, 110 after practice. Distraction index, 110 throughout the day. Combine both and compute weekly averages. Look for trends rather than daily noise. Ethics, boundaries and consent. Unglamorous but essential. This method increases influence only insofar as it helps you show up with integrity. 2 rules must be non-negotiable. 1. Do no covert manipulation. Using energetic influence to override someone's autonomy is an ethical line you do not cross. Do not use practices to exert control over others without clear consent. 2. Do not replace professional help. These methods are complementary. If you have a medical, psychiatric, or urgent emotional issue, seek licensed help. Use energy tools to support, not substitute clinical care. Group practices and the power of shared fields. Practicing in small groups accelerates learning. The field density multiplies. More people bringing attention to a shared intention creates a different subjective texture than solo practice. Start with a trusted group, agree on intentions and boundaries, and document group outcomes. Group session template, 30-40 minutes. Opening 3 minutes. Each person states a concise intention. Collective 60s contrast visualization with synchronized breath. 3 cycles of group 5-5-5 coherence with a shared anchor, e.g., well-being for the group. Paired palm sessions, partners for 5 minutes of sensing. Closing, each person speaks 1 short observation or commitment for the week. Common social dynamics to monitor. Group expectation inflation, don't overpromise. Emotional spillover, ensure psychological safety. If someone becomes triggered, stop and ground. Advanced integration, pairing systems to create leverage. Once competence is consistent, you can design systems that amplify returns. Ritual plus micro-action loop. Anchor practice to a daily habit that naturally produces an action. After morning practice, send 1 clarification email. Environment scaffolding. Add visual cues that prime the state. A small plant, a calming object on your desk. These cues lower friction. Technology-assisted feedback. Use a simple HR monitor or breathing app to get a feedback loop. Watch changes in coherence scores over months, not as proof, but as another data stream. How to read setbacks as feedback, not failure. Setbacks are inevitable. After a patch of apparent stasis, run a diagnostic check. Are you consistent? Habits need time. Did you change a variable? Caffeine, sleep, diet. Did you neglect documentation? Loss of data masks patterns. Are expectations unrealistic? Skill building is incremental. If you've checked these, try a small perturbation. Switch posture, add movement, or alter the practice time. Small shifts reveal much. Narratives that help and narratives that hurt language shapes perception. Replace vague should statements with observable, actionable language. Unhelpful narrative, if I do this, everything will change. Helpful narrative, if I practice this daily, my baseline calm will likely improve, and I will have clearer evidence to make decisions. Limit the dramatic metaphors in your private notes. Save the grand language for motivation. Use neutral, precise language for experimentation, scaling ethically into influence and leadership. As your confidence grows, you can teach others. Lead with transparency. Explain what is known, what is hypothesis, and what is your practice-based evidence. Include safety disclaimers and invite participants to document their own data. The most responsible leaders in this domain treat others as colleagues in exploration, not as subjects. A month-by-month archive habit for long-term learning. Create an archive folder, digital or physical, where each week's photos, daily logs, and experiment notes accumulate. At the end of each month, write a one-page review. What variables changed, what patterns appear, and one deliberate change for the next month. This archival habit converts pastime into study and increases the probability of real transformation. When to seek external guidance. If your practice starts unearthing complex emotions, or if you find yourself obsessing over outcomes, seek mentorship or professional support. Good mentors help you calibrate practices, point out blind spots, and hold ethical standards. If you have cardiovascular, seizure, or psychiatric conditions, consult licensed professionals before deepening breathwork, cold exposure, or intense group rituals. Stories, not as proof, but as maps. Many practitioners will tell you vivid stories of synchrony and unexpected outcomes. Listen to them, extract patterns, but do not let singular stories replace your own data. Use them as inspiration, not as substitute for measurement. Bringing it home, a compact daily stack you can do anywhere. When you can only spare 5 minutes, use this stack. It's the smallest replicable unit that still moves the needle. 1. 60-second contrast visualization. Set one clear intention, one short anchor phrase. 2. One set of 3x555 heart coherence with appreciation. 3. One micro-action within the next hour. Send a clarifying message. Take one deliberate step toward your goal. 4. Journal one line. Sensation, plus one observable detail. This compact cycle is your minimum effective dose. The crescendo. How small discipline creates big leverage. Here is the core logic you must keep returning to. Consistent, tiny practices change the operating range of your nervous system. As your baseline shifts, your choices change. You stop being reactive and become selective. That selectivity is how energy practice turns into life changes without magical promises. It's boring and revolutionary at the same time. Consistency plus curiosity. Leverage. One last experiment before you close your journal today. Do a 5-minute session now. Follow the compact stack above. This time, after your coherence, take one specific outward action within 30 minutes. A short message, a deliberate touch point, a cleared email. Notice what happens. Log it. That single action transforms practice into a testable chain. Your energy meets reality through behavior. Ethical reminder and safety summary. You are stewarding influence. Do not use this method to coerce or manipulate. Do not abandon professional care for serious conditions. Keep breathwork within comfortable ranges. Stop any practice that causes dizziness, prolonged emotional distress, or physical pain. If in doubt, consult a licensed professional. Closing, reclaiming the one little-known lever. You started this video to learn about a little-known lever. Now you have more than a trick. You have a framework, experiments, safety rules, lifestyle scaffolding, and a disciplined path to practice. The promise in the title, to transform your life with this little-known energy manipulation method, is not a guarantee from me or from any study. It's a conditional claim. With consistent practice, diligent measurement, ethical use, and incremental behavior, you increase the probability that your internal state will shape your choices and the opportunities you notice. That compounding is real. Do the 5-minute stack now. Notice one thing, record it. Keep the journal. Your life doesn't shift in a single dramatic event as often as it shifts through daily, deliberate alignment. That alignment is what turns intention into reality over time. If you felt anything new today or ran an experiment that surprised you, write a short note in your log. Keep that curiosity alive. Keep testing. Keep measuring. The method is simple, but it asks for discipline and integrity. Start small. Scale carefully. Be generous with others and honest with your data. You know what to do next.